Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. Today's topic is top 10 DNS interview questions. So in this video we are going to see top 10 DNS questions along with their ratings, how representing their importance level with the use of stars. First the question will be visible and then there will be a 5 seconds timer in order for you to do some brainstorming and think about the answer, and you can even pause the video to get some more time, or you can even put your answers in the comment section. So let's move forward. So the first question is, which protocol and port is used by DNS? So this is a 5-star question and you can take your time to think of an answer. I am going to just start the timer now. And here we go. So UDP is the protocol used by DNS by default, and then TCP is used in a case where truncation bit is enabled or while doing the zone transfer. So conclusion is UDP and TCP, both the protocols are being used by DNS. Which port? The answer is 53 for both cases. Whenever there is TCP or UDP on the transport layer, the port remains 53. Let's move on to the next question. What is lame delegation? This is a 3-star question. So disconnect between parent and child zone, which is also we can say desynchronization, which is going to show some disconnect between parent and child. In what I mean by that, parent is holding an answer to a record which child do not use anymore. So it is a lame delegation. Maybe in the past parent have delegated that record to the child, but now that child have deleted it or do not use it anymore, but still parent thinks that the child node is having an authoritative answer for it. So the next question is, what is zone apex? This is again a 3-star question, and here the timer begins. So starting node of any zone is called apex. I have tried to explain it with the help of this hierarchical tree structure. First is root, then is the .com, then .youtube, and then is www, the subdomain level. So YouTube here is the starting point of a particular zone, which I have highlighted with the dotted line, which is called as .youtube.com zone. So YouTube here is known as the apex of this zone. So moving on to the next question, what are resource records? This is again a highly important question, mostly asked in many interviews. Here the timer begins. So resource record is a 6-tuple information, and what all are the fields? I have represented them in the table below. The next question, what are glue records, in-bailiwick and out-of-bailiwick? This is again an important question, mostly asked whenever the interviewer wants to go in more details of the DNS sections. So glue record is an information passed in additional section of DNS message. As I mentioned, this is additional section, and this provides us some more information about the next traversing authoritative name server. So it is going to save our time. So taking an example in order to explain it is, first, whenever we reach out to root name server do not have the exact domain IP mapping. It is going to tell us the another place where we can search for, which is the top level domain. Now it is going to tell us the top level domain where we can go. Again, we will need to resolve that top level domain in order to fetch an IP. So in order to save that particular time, whenever the root name is going to direct us that this is the second place where you need to search for, this is the top level domain, it is also going to include that top level domain IP address in the additional section of it, so that it saves our time of not first resolving that and getting an IP address and then reaching out to the top level domain, but it is a part of a same packet. Now there are two types of glue records for the in-bailiwick and out-of-bailiwick. In-bailiwick means if name server is present in the same zone. So when we are saying now you need to parse this location next, at that time that is present in the same zone, so we will easily pass on the IP address of it as well. Out of bailiwick means the name server is present out of the zone, still the IP address would be passed in the additional section. So that is the additional information, also known as glue record. Very important question. The next question is, what is priming query? This is again a 5-star question. So the first query which root name server makes to the bootstrap list, which is the root name server basically. So there are 26 root static servers available, which are 13 for IPv4, 13 for IPv6. Now how the root name server know that which root name server it needs to reach out to out of these 13 for IPv4 or 13 for IPv6? So that is something, whenever a resolver is bootstrapped, it reaches out to its static connection of this bootstrap list, which consists of these 26 IP address, and that query which will be sent to the from resolver to this bootstrap list is known as the priming query, and that is going to give us back the information about the 13 IPv4, and according to the round robin or the nearest DNS, it is going to reach out to the one of the root name server out of these 26 static servers. The next question is, what is response rate limiting? This is again very important question, mostly asked by the interviewers. Response rate limiting. So RRL helps to limit the rate at which a DNS server responds to queries and also act as a DDoS effect. Basically, this is going to trigger a truncation bit. It's going to enable that truncation bit, telling that if there are multiple queries which are being received by this particular server, and in order to avoid any kind of DDoS attack, it's going to enable the truncation bit, and it is going to result in the shift of protocol from UDP to TCP. And TCP is, as we all know, it's more reliable protocol. It's going to help us not send a lot many queries altogether to the server, and it's going to make that reliability that once a query is being received by the server, it will give the server also some time to respond back and avoid certain attacks like distributed denial of service. Moving next, what is opt record? So opt record is something present again in specifically the additional section. This is again an additional records, but very helpful, and how we will going to look into that. So opt record is again a 6-tuple information, and it offers a lot of functionality. As we can see, the 6-tuple information represented in the table, it's very important. The TTL bits, I am going to cover that because this is something which you need to definitely tell an interviewer whenever they ask for opt record. So TTL bits, first is extended R code, which is 8. So here we are getting an extra 8 bits of R code, which is going to help us to increase the visibility into how many error codes we can detect while enabling the flags. Second is version, and then is flag. So these are fields also very useful in case of the latest technologies used in DNS. So one of the star point here is it is going to offer path MTU discovery for the maximum size of messages a software can handle on the application layer. So path MTU discovery is very important in order to get an idea how much information can be passed altogether. The next is difference between primary and secondary name server. So this is again a 5-star question. Let's see. The primary name server, the secondary name server, and this is the difference between both of them. Primary is something which stores the zone file and is an authoritative because it have the operation access as well, create, update and delete, whereas secondary, it just loads a copy of information from the primary name server and keeps that for a record. Secondly, it cannot perform any kind of operation, so it's only a read access for the secondary name server. So the next question is, what are the types of resolvers? Very important. So there are a lot many types. I have tried to note here the important ones, the 4 types of resolver: stub resolver, recursive, and the validating, the forwarding, and the paywall resolver. So that was all for today's session. Thank you so much everyone for watching this, and do share it with your colleagues or your friends who want to know more about the interview questions and their types. I hope this will be helpful, and keep watching. Thank you so much.